Meghan Markle has shown herself to be a stark contrast to the women who have come before her in the royal family. Every woman who marries into the royal family faces pressure and criticism, yet they endure, perseveres, and uphold the dignity expected of them. However, Meghan has demonstrated a lack of resilience and grace, revealing her true character and lower standards. Unlike her predecessors, Meghan has chosen to publicly air grievances rather than dealing with them privately with dignity. Instead of rising to the occasion and proving her strength, she has resorted to complaining and seeking the spotlight for sympathy. Being part of the royal family only underscores her lack of suitability for the role. Early on, there were articles that were critical of Meghan, but there were also ones that were critical of Catherine. She was subjected to years of negative coverage in the media, and they also targeted Catherine's parents, claiming that she was a coal miner's granddaughter, and that she had a history in a council house, among other things. Throughout the majority of Charles and Diana's marriage and beyond, Camilla was subjected to a great deal of slander. During her early years and throughout her relationship with Lord Snowdon, Princess Margaret was subjected to criticism. Subsequently, she was subjected to a terrible amount of media coverage while she was in Mustique with Roddy Llewellyn. Prince Philip was accused of having sexual relations with multiple women, and the names of those women were revealed. On the other hand, not a single one of them uttered a single word. And in the end, everything has subsided, and their lives have been less difficult. The only way for Meghan to get rid of it would have been to ignore it all, just like an actor would do after a play or film. If she had been diligent and given enough time, it would have disappeared. With the exception of a few negative stories and comments, the British public was quite supportive of Meghan. We were fine with anyone who made Harry happy, particularly if they were Meghan. We also saw that Harry was in a good mood. There were a few challenging headlines that were produced by the issue with her family, however. As we now know, Meghan does not place any importance on her family at all. As a result, it is impossible for any of the palace PR to disagree with reports that are obviously accurate. How could anyone possibly refute the assertion made by The Sun, which stated that Meghan was a member of the pornographic website Pornhub? There are sufficient photographs on the internet that show Meghan in a variety of stages of undress, and in a variety of stances that are considered to be exotic for us to realize that this was a possibility. In a similar vein, it is an established fact that she was raised in Compton or in the surrounding area. Nevertheless, if you read the article, did it not continue by saying that she had done so well to have begun her life in a community that showed little promise for the people who lived there? Despite the fact that I just gave it a cursory examination, I had the impression that it was, for the most part, favorable and positive. The remaining members of the family have never made any statements regarding the media, and by their actions, they have turned the situation around to their advantage. As an opinionated and outspoken individual, Meghan was dissatisfied with the fact that she was unable to defend herself, and as a consequence, she is currently involved in a number of different legal actions. Watching the lawsuit involving the Mail on Sunday and seeing how it develops would be an interesting experience. Even Scobie has stated that Meghan was aware that the letter would be published in advance. Perhaps she is using this as an additional source of money. On the other hand, Meghan is also a victim of her own behavior, and it was in ways that caused a great deal of negativity to be expressed. What is the point of praising someone who is impolite to their employees? How can you justify the fact that she hurled a cup of boiling tea at someone while she was in Australia, and that her actions were so horrifying to those who watched them, that the woman who was involved was awarded compensation in the amount of £250,000? In what sense is it possible for the general public to love someone whose new husband is always apologizing for the way that she continues to behave? Who is it that can be heard yelling at Harry and objecting to the idea of sharing a bedroom? If you are a private individual and behave in the manner that Meghan has, then very few people outside of the surrounding vicinity would be interested in what you have done. If the person in question is a newlywed member of the royal family or a member of the media, then your activities are going to be published all over the world. As she mentioned in the engagement interview, Meghan is not this attractive actress who wants to assist Harry in his work as a member of the royal family. This is something that we discovered upon further investigation. On the contrary, She is a fishwife of a woman who is incapable of acting in a manner that is appropriate for a lady. The British public got the impression that they had been sold a puppy, and they were content to believe all of the negative publicity that resulted from this. Since that time, she has not made any efforts to redeem herself in any way. The question is, when did the criticisms begin? When her family began to tell the citizens of the United Kingdom that she was not the person that we all believed she was, we looked at her with new eyes. Then there was the issue of her father, as well as the fact that Harry had never met him, and that she was not interested in him or his health. Moreover, with the exception of the wedding, during which the majority of us were cheering for her and for Harry's happiness, things have, unfortunately, been going bad ever since. I found it very odd that on one hand, they had announced to the world that they were seeking a quiet life in Canada. Within weeks they had moved to the world's capital of paps, gossip, and celebrity. I felt then that Meghan had always had La La Land as her end goal, and from then on out she would be making money from being associated with the royal family. By this move, she proved all the critics right. Their actions since have been cheap, disrespectful, immoral, and dishonorable. I don't want them representing our royal family in our country. I'm pleased they have repaid the restoration costs. It is a start. They now need to step back from everything related to our country, and their titles should be removed from Parliament. They do not represent the UK and Commonwealth nations in any shape or form. In fact, I have never liked Meghan. I saw right through her from the very start. Is he kind just didn't wash? She was a nobody when she met him and has proven just how vicious, petty, and self-absorbed she is. Harry tried to break it off with her before the Jamaican wedding of his friend, Skippy. He attended solo. She gate-crashed that event. How rude, manipulative, self-serving, and egotistical are all words I'd use to describe Meghan. I believe Harry caused some of the problems by issuing the statement that the press was not to say a thing about his fiancée. Had he let her fend for herself like William let Catherine do, he would have seen early on she was not royal material. She doesn't have a spine of tungsten, as Prince Charles likes to believe. I think it is more like cardboard. In addition, I also think Meghan didn't want Harry to meet her dad. What if Daddy blew it and said when Flower was born, or said how he paid for her tuition, or sent her to the best schools? She could no longer be a victim who struggled to get the best in life, but instead breezed through with Daddy's help. That's why Harry never met him. I wonder if among the people watching the video, is there anyone who feels the same as me? Markle didn't end up on my radar until the interview during the South African tour. Of course, I had heard that Harry married and had a baby. I predicted the marriage would eventually fail because she is an independent woman and an actress who already divorced one husband. Second marriage failure rates are high. Being proud of your skin color is a good message, but what isn't a good message is that plastic surgery, dental veneers, keratin, Brazilian blowouts, and hair extensions are the tickets to being accepted and being whatever you wish to be. I believe it's her choice to do what she likes, but it's our choice to present her as an example. She then went on to say that the stiff upper lip the British are famous for was damaging. She knew who and what she was marrying. Don't insult an entire nation because you can take the heat. The Oprah interview finished any good thoughts of her. The lies, the race card abuse, and the hijacking of the cause of mental health were the final straw, coupled with the revelation that she did assist Omid Scobie with his book. What is there to like after all of that? Can say that people in the UK are very slow to anger. We rarely riot or protest, and in the main are somewhere between stoic and ambivalent on most things, to our detriment most of the time. However, hypocrisy from the mega-rich does bother us. When a multi-millionaire flies around the world, taking private jets and using massive cars, starts to lecture us on global warming, we react. It has nothing to do with someone else's color. Although Markel's troll farm claims it is so, the public had the same response to lectures from Sting and Bono, and their hypocrisies were highlighted. The British working class has been compared to a sleeping dog, a quite big and slow-to-anger dog, but if prodded enough, a dog that will bite back. Markle prodded too much for too long, and now, to exhaust the simile, the dog will not let go of the bone. Probably worth noting, I got into the AA program 26 years ago. At that time I was at war with or had fallen out with many relations and ex-friends. It was pointed out to me that I was the common denominator in all of these cases. Whilst it is entirely possible that I could be a victim in one or two cases, I could not be in all of them. When she got married, she did not invite her father and others. Her university sorority would not celebrate or send her regards. And now she is at war with his entire family. So I ask, who is the common denominator in all of this? Besides, I'll be honest with everyone, my problem with Meghan started when she did not make any effort to go see her father, who had a heart attack or maybe two. I don't care how busy you are, or how many problems you have with your father or mother when they are having a major health incident, you get to them as fast as you can. ASAP. They are your parents, and without them, you would not be here to enjoy the life you're living. That was what made me dislike her, the fact that she could not even ask her father if he was alright, and on the mend after he had a heart attack and a stent placed, and believe me, they do not put in stents if you do not have heart problems. My brother had a major massive heart attack in April of 2019. Through the miracle of modern technology, he had a left ventricular assist device placed on his heart that gave him 11 more months of life. By the time he died in March 2019, rumors were out about the texts that Harry and Meghan sent to her father. I read them in horror as they were bullying a man who was in the hospital having had a heart attack. Who does that? What kind of daughter does that or allows her husband to do that to her father? Nobody I know, that is for sure. Wouldn't most people postpone their wedding until their father recovers and is able to travel to give his daughter away? Meghan acted like her dad was faking a heart attack, when I believe she was ashamed of him, because he carries some extra weight or she was afraid he would embarrass her in front of the royal family and the world. That is not the actions of a daughter. Having watched my brother fight like hell in 2018, to survive a major heart attack, and come back from it with a device on his heart, and a line running from it to the outside of his abdomen so he could plug himself into an electrical socket or his battery pack, knowing if he isn't hooked up to his batteries or a wall socket, he had only about 20 seconds at most to live, to watching and hearing about someone who could care less the fight with death her father had been in, made me hate her. That's my reason. It may be irrational, it may be emotional, but one thing it isn't is racism. I wouldn't care if a daughter was black, white, biracial, Hispanic, or Asian. If she treated her father who had a heart attack the way Meghan treated hers, I would hate a woman of another culture too. Meghan Markle's abandonment of her own father is both shocking and deeply disappointing. Thomas Markle, the man who supported her, provided for her education, and stood by her throughout her early years, has been cast aside with cold indifference. This behavior starkly contrasts the image Meghan often tries to project of herself as a compassionate and empathetic person. By severing ties with her father, Meghan has shown a complete lack of gratitude and respect. Thomas Markle, who played a crucial role in her upbringing, deserved better than to be discarded once she entered the royal spotlight. It is particularly troubling that Meghan has chosen to cut off her father, especially considering his evident attempts to reconcile and be part of her life. Furthermore, Meghan's actions suggest a deliberate attempt to rewrite her history to fit a narrative that suits her public image. By distancing herself from her father, she perpetuates the story of a self-made woman who overcame great odds, conveniently omitting the support and sacrifices made by her family, especially her father. This abandonment also highlights a troubling pattern in Meghan's behavior. It appears that anyone who does not fit neatly into her carefully curated public persona is quickly discarded, whether it is old friends, family members, or even the royal family. Meghan's loyalty seems contingent on their usefulness to her personal and public ambitions. Thomas Markle has expressed his heartbreak and disappointment publicly, and it's clear that he feels deeply betrayed. Meghan's refusal to mend this relationship not only causes pain to her father, but also casts a shadow on her character. It raises serious questions about her ability to maintain meaningful relationships, and her understanding of loyalty and gratitude. Well, that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching our video, and I want to know what you think about these issues. Please express your opinion in the comments below. Hope you will always be cheerful and happy. Don't forget to support us by liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye and see you again in the next videos.